Now, in relation to most of the cretinous pigs who have starred in videos I've put out on this channel over the past 3 years, it's about time we heard of some interesting news to come from the College of Policing. Apparently, the College of Policing is now planning to introduce policies that deal with harassment and racism in police forces across England and Wales. I mean, it's only taken God knows how many rapes and deaths to get to this point. The so-called crackdown has been promised after police leaders admitted that officers were kept on duty who should have been sacked after abusing, attacking or harassing women. Now, I can't even begin to count the number that we have reported on this channel, with an average of 7 videos a day, 5 days a week for more than 2 years. The College of Policing has said that it wanted the chair of discipline tribunals to consider the effect on public confidence of leaving officers in post, especially when they have been found to have harassed or attacked women. Oh really? You want them to consider the effect on public confidence now, which tells me that until now the effect on public confidence was never really an important part of the proceedings, even though we hear so many times the word salad from chief constables' mouths about how important it is to maintain public confidence. Now obviously, this is a promise from the police, which means it will likely never really take effect. Maybe throw a few under the bus to make it look like it's working, then revert back to normal, such as the case in every other promise that the police make. Which is exactly, no doubt, the reason why they've included the caveat that behaviour of plod will be considered on a case-by-case basis, instead of simply saying anyone found to have committed harassment, assaults against or abuse of a female should be fucked off immediately, because that is exactly what the public want. The College of Policing, which is supposed to be responsible for setting standards of ethics and training for the police service, has allegedly tightened up its guidance following obviously many recent cases where police have abused and attacked women and in some cases murdered them. Now, what worries me, and what many people probably won't even be questioning, is why now? Why now? Yes, there's been an increase in this kind of behaviour, but this is the police, the very people supposed to enforce law and order, but yet until now, almost 200 years of policing later, they are suddenly deciding that they should be acting appropriately towards their own if they are found to have breached their own standards, ethics or broken the law. Yes, it's a good thing if it actually gets put in practice, but surely as the police, the ones who are supposed to know the law, enforce the law, see that victims get justice, investigate and arrest offenders before putting them before the courts for punishment, surely this must raise questions as to why they have not bothered doing this before now. Questions that I bet will never get answered. Now, new guidance is said to be for misconduct hearings and designed to ensure a consistent approach is taken in order to prevent abusive officers from remaining in their jobs, but no doubt designed and written in a way that continues to protect the higher ranking filth in order to protect their positions and their pensions. Andy Marsh, head of the College of Policing, said, "I have spoken before about my frustration at having to readmit officers to my workforce who I thought should have been shown the door, but yet has never once stepped in to try and deal with why they hadn't been shown the door. In many cases, the guidance wasn't clear enough that legally qualified chairs should be considering the impact an incident may have on the wider public confidence, as well as the specific incident itself. Even though in almost every word salad statement from police chiefs, they mention the public's trust and confidence in police. And if these legally qualified chairs haven't realised that that is an important part of their job, then maybe they're not qualified enough." Today's updated guidance is very clear, he says, that the undermining of public confidence caused by an officer's wrongdoing or just the risk that it could be undermined, should be central to the decision making, as should have been the case from the very beginning of time, Mr. Marsh. If someone's behaviour is so bad that it would damage the public's trust in their police service, they should be sacked. There is no place for them in policing, and neither chief constables nor their colleagues want them. No, of course not. That's why their colleagues continually hide the fact that they've witnessed inappropriate behaviour, covering up for them. Besides, why is this only centred around behaviour towards women and to minority groups? What about the behaviour to the general public at large that undermines the confidence or damages trust in the police? Is this how you are going to get away with not sacking as many people as should be sacked, by only targeting those who have been inappropriate to women or minorities, whilst completely glossing over the fact that every single day members of the public from all walks of life are interacted with by police who act in a way to damage that very same trust? Now, with misconduct hearings, the bar is set much lower than in criminal court proceedings. In criminal court, the offender must be found guilty beyond reasonable doubt, whereas a misconduct hearing only needs to find the offender guilty on the balance of probabilities, as in they are more likely to have been guilty than not. That would be almost every copper I've reported on this channel then. Andy Marsh added, there are some people that remain in policing that I don't think should be in policing. The guidance says the outcome should be severe, and it seems common sense to me that any officer who abuses a woman should be sacked. We do not want any part of the policing system to intentionally or unintentionally permit the types of appalling behaviour raised in recent months to continue. He also admitted that there is evidence that the policing isn't robust enough in calling out poor behaviour. Craig Guildford, on behalf of the National Police Chiefs Council, said, "This new guidance gives misconduct panels unequivocal direction that policing wants to see behaviour driven by misogyny, racism or any other form of discrimination treated with the highest gravity. This supports all the recent work policing has undertaken to tackle violence against women and girls. It shows the public that we are determined to eliminate toxic behaviour and damaging culture." But again, absolutely no mention of police who commit other offences that damage trust and confidence, that also on the balance of probabilities did in fact commit the offences that they were charged with. Look, in theory, a great idea. I mean, it probably looks good on paper too, but in practice, I genuinely cannot see this as anything other than another attempt to hoodwink the public into thinking that they are doing something productive, especially as it seems to be only limited to behaviour driven by misogyny, racism or other forms of discrimination. Mark my words, we might well see a slight increase in Plod being dismissed, just as we did after Sarah Everard's murder, but it won't last. They will do it for long enough for you, the public, to forget about it. Then they'll revert back to normal, which is the behaviour we see from the police with regards to every single promise that they've ever made.